So, you'd like to learn how to play Inevitable. You can start playing Inevitable by remembering one basic goal and one basic action. See that yellow thing in the middle of the board? That's Happycom 9, the computer that maintains totalitarian rule over the world of Inevitable. Your goal is to defeat Happycom 9 in an election. You play a member of a group, basically a political party, and you have three primary statistics: power, influence, intelligence. You make progress towards the goal by making these numbers get higher. The basic action in a game of Inevitable is very simple. On your turn, roll a six-sided die, move the number of squares indicated, and take the results of the square on which you land. It also helps if you ask for some money, your income, from the bank during every turn. If you can remember that, you can figure out everything else as you go. Now, let's talk about how to set up the game. The game contains a supply of 21 group information sheets. If this is your first time playing, remove all the groups except Acme, the Church, the Famous International Playboys, the Living Dead, and the Time Travelers. Distribute one of these group information sheets randomly to each player, and give everyone the playing piece that corresponds to their group. The game also comes with a supply of personal data forms, which will be your scores sheet for the game. Take one and copy your starting statistics onto the sheet: your power, your intelligence, and your influence. Your power and power maximum are the same at the start of the game. You also have an income. Copy this to the income area of the form. You also have a stress level, which starts at 0. In the notes section of the form, add together your power, your intelligence, and your influence. The sum of these three numbers is your starting base votes. Happycom 9 also has a certain number of base votes. For your first game, Happycom 9 has 2,000 base votes. Recalculate your base votes occasionally throughout the game. When your base votes are above 2,000, you have a good shot at winning the game. Put simply, anything that brings those three statistics up moves you towards winning the game. Your stress, by contrast, is a statistic you'll want to keep low. Your group also has a special ability. It allows you to bend the rules of the game. You can review your group's special ability on the group information sheet. Before starting play, you'll need to explain your special ability to your opponents. Select one player to be the banker. At the start of the game, the banker gives each player a copy of the in-game catalog and some starting cash. You get $360 plus your group's income. You may spend any or all of this money on catalog items before the game begins. If this is your first game, purchase the Outfitting Phase Special, which is printed right on the front of the catalog. Write down the possessions you purchased in the possessions column of your form. You can review what those possessions do later. You will continue to get your income throughout the game every time you move, if you remember to ask the banker. You'll also get more opportunities to buy things as the game progresses. Place your playing piece on the Institute square. Then, each player rolls a die. The lowest roller will go first, and play will go around the table clockwise. When it's your turn, roll one six-sided die and advance that many spaces on the board. Before you roll the first time, declare whether you are traveling clockwise or counterclockwise. You'll continue heading around the board that way until something happens to change your direction. In general, you roll the die, you move your piece, and you obey the instructions on the square that you land on. If these instructions are not immediately clear to you, you can look up the square in Glorious Progress, the guidebook to the board that comes with the game. Look at the outer ring of the board and note that 6 squares are larger than the others. These are the major squares, and they are the key points of business in the game. As you get close to each one, look it up in Glorious Progress and see whether it's going to be beneficial. If you believe so, you can declare, before rolling for movement, that you would like to stop at that major square. If you roll higher than the number required to reach the square, you stop in that square and do not move any further. Lots of things can help you raise your statistics, like possessions from the catalog, which you can order when you're at the mailbox, and holdable fate cards from the card deck. Holdable fate cards are marked with an icon of a hand holding 3 cards. If you draw a holdable fate card, hold it until you need it, and keep it secret from the other players. There are things that can hurt you too, including your opponents. However, the first 3 rounds of the game are designated as happy time. During happy time, you may not attempt to harm or instigate your opponents. After happy time, however, it's on. There are many different ways to hurt other people in this game. One common method is combat. Combat is something you might want to think about if you have a higher whoop-ass factor than other players. To calculate your current whoop-ass factor, you'll use the combat workspace on your form. These quick start rules have simplified some rules and omitted some others. And at some point, someone in your playgroup should read the rulebook. But for now, you can get started. Enjoy!